What's up, folks? Matthew Bellman, Ryan Kostrowski here. This is the DFS 5-pack. It is Tuesday, the 11th of February. Got ourselves a solid 5-game slate. About the minimum for the number of games. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take 5 to 10. So we just hit that sweet spot today.
For sure. No doubt about that.
I hate when we're 4 or less. So this is much better to talk about. Where it doesn't matter nearly as much is if you throw a few dollars in over at overlaydfs.com. A lot of action going on over here. Guys, the $22 progressive jackpot challenge is just right for the picking right now. We're talking almost 10-2. Go 12-0 and you win 12 or just over $10,000. That would be a sweet payday, guys. They got PGA contests up for you golf fanatics out there. I know there's a bunch of you, so you got that to take a look at. And I want to continue to kind of promote the Slump Buster Challenge, which means that, let's say, for example, you're going after this almost 10K or over 10K, which will be 11 before we know it possibly. And you play this thing 20 times, you don't cash once, they refund everything for you. They've also added a jackpot if you go 0-12, which some nights feels like it might be easier than 12-0. They will give you a jackpot there as well. So there's a lot to like over here. The link is below. Go get your stuff started.
I think you get $500 if you go 0-12. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, I feel like I've been closer to that a couple times lately than 12-0. So it's nice to have that in your back pocket as well.
For sure. I know I was following closely last night. I went 8-5 in a couple of them, so just missed the money. But if you think about it, the Slump Buster Challenge basically is almost like a money back guarantee. So it's awesome.
I had a painful night last night. What I mean by that is my record was 500-ish. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I got all of my top picks right and missed the bottom 5 low confidence guys, which again, you're not expecting to be as accurate there, but it's kind of annoying.
That is annoying. That's where, if you had done the 5-pick challenge, you probably would have won it.
Probably, and hindsight's 50 or 100. 2020 got all the numbers wrong on that one. Anyways, so I was watching the Bucks yesterday, and Giannis was out because the birth of his child, and just seeing him on social media, he's like my favorite athlete right now. You guys probably know that. So here's a question for the audience and for you, Matt. Who's your favorite athlete of all time that's not for one of your squads?
That's not from one of my squads.
Somebody else you just love watching play the game. Basketball, baseball, football, you name it.
Ooh, that's a really good question. I'm not.
Put you on the spot a little bit. For anybody listening to this, if you got an answer, throw it in the comment section.
I'm going to think about it. At some point during this show, I'll have my answer.
Okay. And just before we hop into today's picks, guys, instead of a deal of the day, we're doing the deal of the week. We will be done with this after Friday, but I want to give people with an opportunity to get paid on Friday to take advantage. Normally, the full baseball season is $99. We got a 30% off sale going for people who purchase it real early. Only $69. You get to purchase it for cheaper and at a funny number. Sign up this week and you get 10 free days of NBA to boot. One of the better deals we'll have all season long. Simply rewarding people who sign up early.
Let's get it.
All right, guys, so let's talk about some of the plays today. So I'm looking at SATORANSKY of the Chicago Bulls. He's listed as questionable, but this guy's been listed as questionable since 2000. He plays every single game anyway, so it's not really something you have to worry about. And if you read further, that questionable really means probable. So he's relatively cheap today at only $4,900. Kind of a sweet spot for his price point. You know, sometimes he's up closer to 6, sometimes he's down in the mid 4s, but I'll take $4,900 any day. We have no Chris Dunn right now to contend for minutes with him. And, of course, there's the Washington factor. The nice part about taking on Washington, even when a team like Memphis the other day that was awful, they still had a bunch of guys at value because Washington's just that team. They are those dudes. He's played against his former mates twice this year, averaging 17.5 points, 5 rebounds, 5.5 assists, a steal for about 32 DK points, so GPP value twice already this year. With a 230 overall projected point total, looks like a solid game for DFS points. I feel like he's a guy you can just slide in, take your, 24 to 34 points and move along.
Yeah, he looks rock solid. The COG type, especially at this price point, under 5K in a really good spot. Insert NBA player against Washington here. Lock it in. I mean, I wouldn't call him a must, but I would call him really nice, kind of building block type play in all formats.
Next up is your boy Joel Embiid. This is Matt's pick, but it's also a guy that was shortlisted for me. And we've seen Embiid in the past. He can go off against anybody. He just needs to be engaged. I expect that tonight. He's got 98 DK points over his last 47 minutes, coming off of that pathetic performance against my Bucks.
Yeah, he looks engaged right now. Big game for Philly. Big game all around. Only time the Clippers come to Philly. I'm sure the entire Sixers squad is going to get up for this one. Not only is it, the Clippers coming there with PG and Kawhi, but Kawhi coming back there after taking them out last year. So big time get up spot. We've seen what Embiid can do in get up spots. He's still very affordable at 9,100. I mean, this is the first guy I looked at when I opened the slate. I'm not sure how you feel about it, but I have a real hard time getting away from him at this price.
So the Clippers obviously have really good perimeter defense with some of the premier perimeter defenders in the league. They're one, I won't even go as far as to call it a weakness, but it's a weakness by comparison to attacking them on the perimeter, and that is their defense in the post, which is where Embiid should be able to attack Montrezl Harrell, Zubac, whoever they put in there. They're really not a match for Joel Embiid. So this game screams Embiid. Now, the flip side of this, I would say every time you see Embiid in what, talking heads like me or you or anybody else out there calls a get-up spot, doesn't mean he's going to get up. But I think he's going to get up more than he doesn't. And I just got a good feeling this is a really good spot for him to play his best tonight. So while I do have that little voice in the back of my head saying, this dude shows up small when he shouldn't occasionally, I like him tonight. Call it a gut feeling, call it evaluating how he's played the last couple of games since embarrassing himself on whatever it was, Thursday Night Basketball or whatever it was. I expect a really, really good performance from him here.
Yeah, same. Most of the time he shows up big. Sure, he's had his spots where he's failed, but most of the time he shows up big, and I like him in this spot. All right, going back to your question, just because I've, it's been percolating in my mind. These are the guys that come to my mind when I think about that question. Antoine Walker, Juan Gonzalez, although he played a year in Cleveland, so not sure if you would count that. Ryan Braun, and Derek Thomas. So there it is.
Antoine Walker. Why Antoine Walker?
I just really liked watching him play. I can't explain it. Those are the guys that just come to my head.
Was it because you're a big-time gambler and obviously he has some gambling issues, so you kind of felt like you guys were buddies that way?
Maybe. I think it's that shimmy he used to do.
I got that. I love watching Russell Westbrook play. He's always been a guy that just, to me, he's a lot of fun to watch, go out there and watch play. I'm trying to think of some other guys that are fun. I love Gronk, too. I hate the Patriots, but just give me Gronkowski any day.
Yeah, who doesn't love to watch Gronk? I'm with you.
All right, guys, so let's keep on the theme of basketball right here. A guy I'm looking at, another kind of solid floor play to me is going to be Danilo Gallinari of the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's another guy. He's in play every single day, but rarely gets the love that he deserves. He's at a nice, cheap price tag today as well at only $5,800. I had to go back almost 2 months to find a game where Gallinari didn't give you a minimum of 20 points. On a salary like this, you're looking for about 30. Anything over that's really the cherry on the sundae. He drops 30-plus most of the time, and he rarely has really, really bad games. Is he a monster upside guy that's going to get you 60? Probably not. He doesn't get many assists. He doesn't get a lot of steals. He doesn't block a lot of shots. But he's a very good scorer, averaging close to 20 points per game, and a solid rebounder who has a decent floor because he can shoot the three ball and also get to the line. You get the Spurs on the tail end of a back-to-back with travel coming from Denver. Bad spot for San Antonio tonight. Look for him to take advantage of an older defense. It might be a step slow.
Yeah, hard not to look at Gallo here, under 6K. Just priced really nicely. He's another guy. He just really works in any type of roster construction. I said it with Sato. I'll say it with him. He is a cog type, man. At 5,800, just what he is. Like you mentioned, you can play him pretty much any day. Tonight is certainly no exception.
All right, next up is your boy Rui Hachimura. So I'll let you get after it, but I just think he's a fun roster because he's got one of the coolest names in the NBA.
No doubt about it. That is true, but that's not why we're talking about him here.
You don't get extra points for that?
You do not yet at least. They'll add that at some point. We really like picking on the Bulls of the opposing big men. I watched your video on Sunday, and you talked about how Embiid was just the lock of all locks. He was. Rui is not that guy, but he's also only 4,800. And as of right now, he looks like Washington's probably second best player behind Beal. I like the cut of his jib. He's good. Finally starting to feel himself a little bit after returning from injury. I think his minutes only increase, if anything. Got into a little bit of foul trouble last game, but aside from that, was really good. I think
his minutes went from 29 to 26, and the reason you brought up the foul trouble is because it wasn't a decrease because they're easing him back in. His minutes were down because he got 2 fouls within 4 minutes of the first quarter.
Mm-hmm, exactly. So, he lost some run in that regards. He maybe lost some aggressiveness. I just like him a lot here. He kind of fits with Sato. It's just another guy from this game that works.
Honestly, I didn't look at him at all this morning. And when you brought him up, it was kind of like hashtag duh. Like, why wasn't that? I played him on Sunday. He fit into my roster real nicely that day, despite getting, losing some run in the first quarter of foul trouble. He was solid that day. Nice that his price tag doesn't increase because he actually, it's good that he lost some time. Might have had higher upside that game. You might be seeing him at 5,200 today if that wasn't the case. So he definitely slides right in a game that I have a lot of interest in.
Yeah, same. He just works, man. I said it before. I'll say it again. We like this game, and he's a nice piece of Washington without breaking the bank.
Right. Washington is harder to use right now. And also the Bulls are really good at wing defense. Like a very underrated team at defending the wing, but they are weak down in the post. I mean, beyond weak. If there is one team that it's more obvious to like how you attack them, I don't know who it is. Because they are elite on the wings and terrible in the post. And like we don't think of Rui like we think of Embiid, like a guy who's dominant down there, but he'll get down by the hoop, he'll get his rebounds and get his putbacks.
Most definitely.
All right, guys, that's what we got for today. Sign up now for that MLB package. Come get it early. Save yourself some money. My boy Bellman over here with multiple $50,000 wins last year. Come, I'll learn how to be contrarian playing MLB, and let's win some cash.
Let's get it.